Dear listeners, gather close, for I have a tale that will chill your bones. In a time long past, I ventured into the heart of darkness, a place known as Hollowbrook Manor. Its very name whispered of forgotten horrors, and that fateful night would etch itself into my soul forever. Part 1. The Arrival. The night was thick with fog, like a curtain draped over the world. The air held a stillness that seemed almost unnatural. With every step I took towards Hollowbrook Manor, the mist seemed to cling to me, as if trying to keep me away. The mansion loomed tall and ancient, its dark silhouette reaching up to touch the sky. The old oaks that surrounded it whispered secrets of forgotten times. Their leaves rustled, creating a haunting melody that sent shivers down my spine. As I approached, the front door creaked open, inviting me into its shadowy embrace. Inside, the grandeur of the manor masked its age, but there was something in the air, a heaviness that hinted at hidden mysteries. The paintings on the walls stared back at me with curious eyes, frozen in a world long gone. I could swear I heard whispers, faint voices that seemed to echo through the halls. They were soft, like distant memories trying to make themselves heard. It was as if the very walls held stories, waiting to be told. I continued my exploration, drawn deeper into the heart of the manor. Each step seemed to resonate in the silence, a testament to the years it had stood. The further I ventured, the stronger the presence of something otherworldly became. It was as though the very essence of the place was alive, watching and waiting. And there, hidden away behind an imposing door, was a room wrapped in chains, a foreboding message etched into its surface. It was a warning, but my curiosity got the better of me. With trembling hands, I dared to unlock the forbidden chamber. The air grew colder, and a mournful sigh seemed to escape the room. I could feel it, a presence, ancient and restless. It reached out, aching to be free from its long-held prison. The room seemed to hold its breath, waiting for what would come next. Part 2. The Whispering Walls. Inside the chamber, shadows danced in the corners, and the air was heavy with a sense of foreboding. The walls, adorned with faded tapestries, seemed to breathe, exhaling secrets of days long past. Each brush of my hand against the ancient fabric sent a shiver down my spine. As I stood there, a feeling of being watched washed over me. I turned, half expecting to see a specter in the dim light, but there was nothing, just the room, silent and still. As I continued my exploration, a sudden gust of wind rattled the windows, causing me to start. It was as if the manor itself protested my presence, a warning to leave before it was too late. But I pressed on, drawn deeper into the heart of the enigma. The very floor beneath my feet seemed to sigh with each step, as though bearing witness to my journey. I couldn't shake the feeling of being a guest in a realm not meant for the living. Every sound, every shadow seemed to pulse with a hidden energy, a life of its own. And still, the whispers persisted, growing louder, more insistent. It was as though the very walls were trying to impart their stories, to share the history that had been woven into the fabric of Hollowbrook Manor. I listened, straining to catch a word, a fragment of a tale lost to time. Little did I know, the true nature of this place was yet to reveal itself, and the night held more secrets than I could ever have imagined. Part 3. The Forbidden Chamber. As the moon climbed higher in the sky, casting its silvery glow through the windows, I found myself drawn back to that ominous door, sealed with iron chains and marked with a warning etched in faded ink. With trembling hands, I reached for the heavy lock, fingers brushing against the cold metal. The chains fell away, clinking softly in the stillness, and the door swung open with a slow, mournful creak. The room beyond was cloaked in shadows, and the air grew colder, as if the very breath of the manor held its breath in anticipation. I stepped inside, heart pounding, the echoes of my footsteps seeming to reverberate in the chamber. The walls seemed to close in around me, lined with shelves holding forgotten relics of a time long past. Dust-covered books, fragile and yellowed with age, stood like sentinels, guarding the secrets they held within their pages. In the center of the room stood an old, ornate mirror, its surface marred with cracks and blemishes. It seemed to capture the very essence of the room, reflecting back a distorted image of the chamber. As I gazed into the mirror, a sudden, chilling breath brushed against my neck, sending a shiver down my spine. It was as though a presence lingered just beyond the edge of my vision, waiting to be acknowledged. I turned away, heart pounding, but the feeling of being watched persisted. It was then that I heard it, a faint whisper, a voice filled with longing and sorrow, echoing through the chamber. I strained to make out the words, but they were like fragments of a distant memory, just beyond my grasp. It was as though the very walls themselves were trying to speak, to share their hidden truths. In that moment, I realized the weight of my decision. I had unlocked a door to a world long sealed away, and now I stood on the precipice of something beyond my understanding. The room seemed to pulse with a palpable energy, as though it held its breath, waiting for what would come next. Part 4. The Haunting Hour. As the night wore on, a heavy silence settled over Hollowbrook Manor. The old clock in the hallway chimed, its sound echoing through the stillness like a mournful cry. Midnight. The witching hour, when the boundary between the living and the departed grew thin. I could feel a shift in the air, a subtle change that sent a shiver down my spine. Shadows seemed to dance with a malevolent glee, their forms twisting and contorting in the dim light. It was as though the very fabric of reality was fraying at the edges. I moved cautiously through the manor, each step weighted with a sense of foreboding. The air grew thick with a palpable energy, a tension that seemed to press against my skin. I could hear faint echoes, whispers that now carried an urgent, desperate tone. The portraits on the walls appeared to come alive, their subjects' eyes filled with a haunting intensity. It was as though they, too, sensed the shift in the atmosphere. They stared, unblinking, as though bearing witness to something beyond mortal comprehension. In the heart of the manor, I found myself drawn to a room that seemed to pulse with a malevolent force. The very walls seemed to throb, as if they were a heartbeat, syncopated with the rhythm of the night. It was here that I would confront the presence that sought release. As I entered, a surge of cold air washed over me, carrying with it a sense of despair and longing. The room seemed to close in around me, the darkness pressing in from all sides. I could hear the whispers now, not just in my ears, but resonating in the very marrow of my bones. The spirits that dwelled within Hollowbrook Manor were no longer content to remain hidden. They clamored for release, their voices rising in a cacophonous chorus. It was a battle of wills, of light against the encroaching dark. In that haunted hour, as the clock struck midnight, I faced the full force of the supernatural. knowing that my very existence hung in the balance. The air seemed to crackle with electricity, and the shadows pulsed with an otherworldly power. And so, the final reckoning began, a clash of mortal and ethereal, in a place where time and space held no dominion. As dawn broke on the horizon, a tremor shook the manor, and the spirits found their peace, leaving behind a silence that seemed almost deafening. I emerged, forever changed, from the haunting of Hollowbrook Manor, carrying with me a story etched in the annals of the supernatural. The echoes of that night would forever linger, a testament to the power and presence that dwelled within those ancient walls. Conclusion: the hauntings end. In the aftermath of that fateful night, Hollowbrook Manor stood in solemn silence, as though holding its breath after the tempest. The air, once heavy with otherworldly energy, now seemed to sigh with a sense of release. I stepped out into the early light, the dawn breaking through the lingering mist. The world outside had changed, as though the very fabric of reality had shifted in response to the events within those hallowed halls. As I looked back at the manor, I knew that I had been forever marked by the experience. The spirits had found their peace, their restless souls finally released from the confines of the mortal realm. It was a bittersweet victory, for the cost had been great. In the days that followed, I would carry the memory of Hollowbrook Manor with me, a reminder of the thin veil that separates our world from the ethereal. The whispers, the shadows, the palpable presence, it all lived on in my mind, a testament to the power of the supernatural. And so, dear listeners, I share this tale with you, a cautionary reminder that there are forces beyond our understanding, lurking in the shadows of the world. Hollowbrook Manor may stand silent now, but its echoes will forever resonate in the annals of the supernatural. As you go about your days, remember to tread carefully, for you never know what secrets lie hidden in the places you least expect. And should you ever find yourself standing before a door marked with warning, consider the consequences of unlocking it, for the world beyond may not be as it seems. This, my friends, is the haunting of Hollowbrook Manor, a story etched in the tapestry of time, a tale that will forever linger in the corridors of my memory. May you heed its lessons, and may you walk with a healthy respect for the unknown.